Let's use that list now to graph a new function based off of a library function. So let's transform a library function. And so we're going to start with the function f of x equals 3 times the square root of x plus 1 minus 2. And here's our square root of x function drawn in. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow our steps. So we start with a horizontal shift, which is right here. And it's a plus 1, which means it's actually a minus 1. So every point that I've got is going to go 1 unit to the left because it's got to change its sign. Okay, now we do stretching or compression, starting first with any horizontal stretch or compression, which we don't have, then vertical. And this vertical says I'm going to take everything, let me actually box this in blue, and its y value is going to triple. So this doesn't change, but this does. It goes up to here. This one is a 2, so now it's a 6. And this is a 3, so now it's a 9. So now I've got a graph that looks like this. Now I do any reflections, and there's no negatives. That's not a negative. The number in front of the x isn't a negative. So we don't have any reflections. And now we finally do our vertical shift, where we take all of our green points and drag them to lower than they were. And so my final graph, my transformed square root function, is the purple one. And so if I erase the rest of these, we get just our purple graph, and that's our answer. So, now that we know what our answer is, let's do something a little more complicated, okay, a lot more complicated. Suppose that instead of giving you the function as an equation, I give you a graph that looks like this. This is our original f of x. And what we want to do is take this graph and perform these changes to it. And so the way that we do this is we start with a horizontal shift. And so these are our points. I'm just going to mark just the key points for now. We've got 2, 3, 4, 0, and 6, 6. So the black is the original. And the very first thing that we're going to do as we look at this graph is we're going to say, hey, we need to do a horizontal shift first. And so we have a 4 minus a 2x. But let's pretend that it's just the first step is pretend that we're just going to do 4 plus x. We're just going to shift by this 4. Well, that means everything is going to come 4 units to the left. So this 2, 3 goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 0 becomes 0, 0. And 6, 6 becomes 2, 6. And I get the same graph, but now it looks like this. So I'm going to erase the black just to get it off. And there's my new graph. It's been shifted first. Remember, horizontal shift is our first. Then we stretch or compress, which is this piece right here, the number in front of the x. So step 2 is to deal with f of 4 plus 2x, and it's a horizontal compression of 2, which means all of my values half, all my x values half. I divide them by the 2. So this becomes 1, 3, 0, 0 stays at 0, 0, and this becomes 1, 6. And now I get this light blue line that looks like that. So let's erase and get rid of the dark blue. But that's this step is my light blue. This is my dark blue step. Now I need to deal with, and that's taking care of my compression. Let's deal with this compression where everything comes into a third. So I still get my point at 0, 0. But my 1, 3 becomes a 1, 1 because I'm going to third it. And my 1, 6 becomes a 1, 2. And so I've now compressed vertically my line. And so I can erase the blue because now what I've got is 1/3 f of 4 plus 2x. And so we can erase off our old ones. And we're just left with this nice green one. Now that we're here, we're going to take step 4, and we're going to deal with our reflections next, and first our inside reflection. So we're going to do 1/3 f of 4 minus 2x. So this point really goes here, and this point really goes here. The 0, 0 stays right where it's at. But now I get this line instead. I've reflected it over the y-axis, and now that the green is gone, we get our new graph. We've reflected this one. Now we need to reflect on the outside. So we're going to do, for step 5, minus 1/3 f of 4 minus 2x. And since it's a negative, that means this point actually goes down. This point goes down, and all of these over, and now it looks like this. So that's my vertical reflection. All that's left is to get just this plus 5. So our last step actually gives us the full graph, 4 minus 2x plus 5. All of these points are now 5 higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get this graph, which is 5 higher than the orange one. And now we're done. And we followed our proper procedure by doing horizontal shifting first, then horizontal compressing, vertical compressing, horizontal reflection, vertical reflection, and finally vertical shifting.